our program is getting spicy. It is getting quite some detail. So let's keep it going. Let's add some more detail. What else can we do to this program to make it cool? Let's add a splash screen. Now, a splash screen is another screen for your program. And typically splash screens usually take the place of a screen the user will see when something is loading. You can imagine playing a game, ripping some COD or something, and the map is loading. You don't just see a blank, empty screen. You probably see a picture. You see a visual of some sorts. You maybe see some words on that screen. Because I got a short attention span. I can't just be looking at a black screen. I need something to look at, or else I'm going to close the game, fire up some RuneScape. Anyways, so that is what a splash screen does. It's a placeholder for when something loads. Now, unfortunately, as beefy as this program is, it pretty much loads instantaneously in less than a millisecond. But in the future, hopefully your programs get a little bit more beefy and they might load in 2 milliseconds, so it might be useful then. How do we add a splash screen? Well, we're going to go to Project. We're going to add a form. And we're not going to change anything. We're just adding a nice form. However, we will change the name. We'll call it splash.cs. Don't forget the .cs. And all of a sudden, we have a second form. So you've got your hello world.cs and you've got your splash.cs. So that is why we really hammer in renaming that form. All right. So this is the splash screen. This is what the user is going to see when they fire up your program or something's loading. And let's keep it very simple. Let's make the lamest splash screen you could possibly make. Let's go back into the 80s. Let's make this screen black. And this screen works as any other screen, as any other form. Like, you can add as whatever you want to it. Controls, yada yada, all that stuff. For color, where are you? Let's add some text. And I'm going to say loading ... And I can spend too much time on this because it's not really the point of the video, and you can resize the screen. I mean, typically you probably want your splash screen to be the same size as your main screen, your main form, so maybe let's not do that. All right, there you have it, the lamest loading screen or fire up screen that you could picture. So if I run my program now, I see my main program, my Hello World form. I don't want to see this form. As beautiful as it is, I'm just not ready to see it. I want to see my loading screen first. So what do we do here? Well, back in your main form, this Hello World form, if you double click the outsides, if you double click the windowed part of your form, you will be taken to your main code. And you can see your main code has at the top this public hello world constructor. And that is a big fancy word that we don't really need to know anything about, but that's what it is. And basically this is what is the first thing that fires off when you run your program. And it's going to initialize the component, and it's initializing the startup form, which you can set there, but we don't need to worry about that. So back in your code, let's add a line of code so that I can run my splash screen, my loading screen. And all you have to do is you have to go application.run, empty brackets. Well, what do we want to run? Well, we want to run the splash screen that I just created. Another set of empty brackets. And the only weird thing is here is you have to go new splash empty brackets inside those brackets semicolon. So this one line of code will I want to say fire up, but that's probably will load your splash screen. So if you add this line of code to your program, now when you run it, it's going to load your splash screen to start. Just like that. Now, that's all that's going to load because, well, watch this. So I have to manually close this splash screen, and then this line of code fires off. So then my main form actually loads. So that's not really intuitive for the user. If you saw a loading screen in your game, you probably would not close it and think that you would bypass the loading part. So let's not get too crazy just yet, but let's go over into our splash and let's think of a way that we could close this. Well, let's keep it simple. Let's add an event. And in keeping up with adding these new controls, I don't want to add a click event. I'm tired of click events. My finger hurts from clicking. Let's add a key press events. Yeah. So a key press occurs when the control has focus and the user presses and releases a key. So when I press and release a key on my keyboard, this event will fire off. So let's add one of those. So if I press a button on my keyboard, I want my splash screen to close. Now, because I'm in my splash form, if I want this form to close, this splash form, I can say this dot close, set of empty brackets. Closes the current splash form. Or I should say closes this splash form. So if I press a key on my keyboard, this line of code fires and this line of code will close my program. So let's see how this works. So there's my loading screen. And I'm going to press any key on my keyboard. Boom. It closes and all of a sudden my main form loads and I'm in business. Just like that.